We're live. Idan.
Yalla.
Finding him. This is a very impromptu podcast, so we might even reshoot. But I think this should be pretty good, actually, because those are the best ones. Even though we're looking through like a very narrow band of lights, and I know we can see my lights.
I can see you better from here
in the background, but no, okay, but really from the camera. So first of all, we spend the entire day shooting, so people are going to excuse us if our energies are slowly rising back.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I have you on. I have the honor of having you on my new podcast, which is basically going to be. I want it to be targeted towards gearing it towards expanding people's understanding of themselves and what's possible in this world. But more than anything, I want them to see that all those crazy things they see on social media and online as like super successful people is actually really achievable as long as they follow the steps that they believe that would bring them there. Yeah. And that's basically what we're talking, give or take.
Yeah.
So first of all, let's talk a little bit about the fluff, which is not really a fluff, but that's basically kind of like the main things that you've been dealing with recently, because you're promoting your books, which we see the posters right behind you. Get out of the truck and wait, so the mindset, oh, I see now. Okay, so it's the mindset and get out of the truck, two separate things. The mindset is the new one, right?
The mindset is the new one, yeah.
Okay, and you want to tell us very, very shortly what the get out of the truck was about and then what the mindset is about?
Yeah, the get out of the truck is all about what you need to do to get out of the truck, right? So getting people to see their business more of a system than just, I start a business, I do everything, the business is me, that's it. Right? So this is how usually people operate. So the idea behind the first book is the business is a system, and you need to understand that it's a system, and there is a flow that happens within the system. So this is the first book. And the second book is like, okay, I got the business as a system, but how do I build the system now? And my whole experience is if you're not going to grow as a person, your business is not going to grow unless you hire somebody else to run the business for you. Right? So the mindset is more making small steps toward who is the person that I want to become and all that.
Is it more about scalability, the second book?
No, the first book is getting closer to scalability. The second book is more about breaking out of the pattern that I'm stuck in, right? So start making small changes in my life, physical and mental changes.
So it's really more about yourself.
Yes.
Okay. Versus the actual, what do you need to understand about your business?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And there's more books in the works right now? Or?
Yeah, we're writing now one on marketing.
Specifically about marketing?
Specifically on marketing.
That's going to be interesting.
Super simple, but I think it's the basic, but unfortunately a lot of people are missing the basic, but this is, who is my customers? How do I talk to them? How do I engage with them? Are they understanding that important? Are they understanding that we need to go through that process when we're building a business? So that's the marketing book.
The marketing book.
Yeah.
And yeah, as we know, marketing really is pretty much everything.
Yeah.
Okay, so let us understand a little bit, and I know you're probably already sick of talking about it, so we're going to touch on it very, very, very shortly. Give us like super shortly, what is your background and who are you today? What is your position? Because I think that will give us a really nice context for the rest of the conversation.
Yeah, so like 90 seconds of the thing. Move here. I grew up in a small farm in Israel. Agriculture most of my life, my youth up between the age of 3 to before I joined the Israeli army, being out in the field, working with my parents. Our life weren't as financially secure at all. Went to the Israeli army, served in a special unit. Got out of the army a little bit early because I need the financial aid. Worked as a bellboy and as a gardener for 2 months, saved enough money to buy a ticket to fly here to the United States, to the promised land. Money grows in trees and all that. Came here, cleaned carpet for about a year, learned about the restoration business, learned about online marketing, grew my company to a nice size. And then 2005, 2006, I went to Katrina. And then I learned that most of the people in the trade business are really passionate about the trade, but not about how to build a business. So I came back from Katrina. I'm like, okay, I know how to generate leads. I'm very passionate about strategy and sales and marketing. They are super excited about working with clients and blowers and dehumidifiers and all that. How can I bring all that together? All right. And fast forward to today. Now build a few companies. One of them is the franchise business that I'm in, and this is really what brought up the books and everything. We have about 100 plus offices around the US. We have a few offices in Canada. I have a marketing company, a software company, and the franchise company.
Okay, so this is something now. It gets to the to the weaves of what I really want to talk to you about, which is you.
Yeah. Awesome. I love that subject.
Yeah. So I had the chance to work with you a little bit on those videos, and one thing that became very clear to me very quickly is that you don't have the regular outlook of the categorically caricature version of a CEO, which just looks at pure growth and profit, and that's basically the majority of their focus. Yeah. And it sounds cliche, but it is true because it's the easiest thing to pay attention to, I guess. But from my experience, in the way that you speak, not just in front of the camera, but also behind the camera, you really have this different outlook on the world. Specifically, you're a huge believer in personal growth, to the extent of execution, and not just as a nice thing that you kind of tell people that you do, but really, for you, it's really important to make sure that your path is linked with the path of your business, and you guys go together. So now, I know that we spoke about this off camera many times, but I do want you to maybe address it now a little bit more officially. Yeah. To what extent, if you have to really look at it, right? Do you really believe that a very large percentage of the growth that you experience as in your life and in your business is due to this category in your mind? Or do you think that maybe it's possible that it was intrinsic to who you are, so anyways you will be successful, but you also happen to believe in this personal growth that can help other people? I know it's a little bit of a convoluted question, but I think it is an important distinction.
Yeah. So I have, from my experience, and especially because the way I grew up and the difficulties that I experienced, and when I was able to face the difficulties and transform them, it was very hard work, but it was that changed everything in my life. It's not the hard work that I did that changed everything in my life. It's not the hard work that I did externally that changed my life. It's the hard work that I did internally, right? So I started at a certain point that, I was very closed off, very shy, communicating with people. Everything was so hard. So I really learned how to work hard, right? In the field, by myself, working hard, right? So my first part of my life, I'll call it, when I worked really hard, I did okay, and then I lost everything. And I went through this cycle of life, right? So at one point I woke up, also because some other things that happened that at one point is shaked me up. And my question was what's going on here?
Sorry, was that still back in Israel, or was that here?
That a mix of. So it's not like one insight transformed my entire life. It's a one insight, trying to figure it out, and then another insight, trying to figure it out, but then it got bigger and faster, right? This is where really my eyes open up and understanding, okay, the outside world, it's only a reflection of my inside world. So I give 100% of my, we can call it success, to my internal transformation, right? So the people that I were able to attract to my life, right? Because the level of confidence. So I was able to work with, let's say, better people, right? My belief of what I deserve, not deserve even, because now it's become a part of that we are creating, right? So me waking up to my ability to create shift a lot of things in my life. But my awakening to me creating the hardship in my life also was an awakening, right? So when you understand that everything is a reflection of you, you are responsible to 100% of it, and it's by the choices that we make that can elevate everything. Now suddenly the only work that I need to do is working on myself, because once my internal experience change, everything external is going to change.
So do you believe in that? So this is maybe, for some people, maybe it's easy to digest, but maybe others are skeptical and they say, you know what, it sounds nice. I've heard it before. I've seen The Secret. Stuff like that. It's a very easy thing to mix with, right?
Yeah.
The reason that your particular story is interesting is because, again, your position as a CEO of a very large organization, and you have your hands in a lot of different types of businesses. You're a successful business person. So to that degree or another, you know what you're talking about, right? And I think that really makes a separation between just people telling you things that might make you feel good and somebody who really believes and sees that there's like you say, the real transformation comes from the inside. So my question to you is, do you really believe that it's 100% of the time? Do you think that this is a genuine question? Because
Yes. I don't, it's not like I believe. I know. It's a knowing, right? When
because
something,
you saw that it worked.
I experienced that it worked.
Okay.
Right? It's my being. When something, I know that everything that happened to me happened for a reason.
Keep
right?
going. I'm going to shut off the whatever is buzzing in the background.
Can you shut also the heater off?
Yes. 1 second.
Cheers,
okay.
by the way.
Cheers. Let's go low. Let's twist it this way. Perfect. Keep going.
I know that, look, not that long ago, but
you understand what I'm asking you, right? Because there's healthy skepticism involved in people who are not quite there, right?
Look, I mean, a lot of people that went through a hardship and then were able to step out of it, looking back and saying, this is one of the best things that ever happened to me.
One of the best things that ever happened.
One of the best things that ever happened to me.
The hardship.
The hardship, right? Because the hardship is there to serve us. Now, is the choices that we make, is us waking up to understand that it's happening for us and not against us. And when you start having that knowing, everything is for the good. Bad or good, there's no different. It's only tools that we get to work with so we can evolve and keep growing. And when you're growing, there's something, I mean, some people can call it magical in a way, but your level of energy, openness, the way you work with other people, you get to this flow and it just works for you. Work with you, works for you, work through you. I don't know how spiritual do you want to get here.
I fully understand what you're saying. So I guess where I'm coming at this, right, is, so for example, I had a conversation with around dinner at my sister's house with my brother-in-law. They have an incredible family, loving family, 2 kids. They seem to be doing everything right for the kids in general with their careers, and I have tremendous respect for their worldview. There's something that exists in the way that we operate, just like you're saying, that seems to make something happen in the world itself that is beyond how people react to you, that is beyond just, a good vibe that you put out there. It's almost like you feel amazing that day, all the lights are green for some reason.
Yeah.
It's almost like there's a mechanism by which, so I kind of raised this point with my brother-in-law, who's he's an economist, very accomplished, a very smart guy, and he's very pragmatic. Now, he's also very open-minded, but I completely understand his position. It's like, look, it sounds good, but come on, right? And but here's the thing: if you don't actually try and pay attention to the mechanism, it's almost like the example that I gave is like how all the instruments now listening to us in a sense. So like I talk to you, I never Googled it. Like I would talk to you about cat food. I drive home and I look for a second on the phone and I got an email about some cat food. Like I never Googled it. I just talked to you about it. So we know they're listening. Okay. But which means there's a mechanism that works behind the scenes to make those things happen. And in the same vein, it seems like when you do certain things, when you align yourself in a certain way, like you're saying, you're just looking at all the bad things as an opportunity, for example. That just that mindset alone, something happens like there's no way out, but because you took this route of thinking about it like that, all of a sudden doors opened in the world itself that almost there's a mechanism there.
Yes.
So the question is, how long do you go before you admit there's a mechanism there? And that was my point to him. So I just want to nail this down, because the reason I'm asking you is because I guess I'm looking for better tools to deal with that question from healthy skeptical people, from someone who experiences firsthand. So maybe you have like a small example of something that you know you shifted and then made things happen, which will definitely help solidify this idea for people. And don't put it on the spot. But
no.
Yeah,
I'm good. I'm just thinking about a good example to give you. But so when we bring in, practice of meditations and getting into this moment of openness, right, or flow, or whatever you want to call it, you feel. I got an example for you. Okay, here you go. I got an example for you. That happened to me 5-6 years ago. This was the first convention that I actually spoke in front of people, and I was terrified speaking in front of people. So the first day of the convention, this is where I worked out, worked for my opening speech, 1 hour, practiced it about 4,000 times, right? I went on the stage with all the fears and everything that I had. I just went there because I practiced so many times, was good. I felt happy, it was good, I connected and all that. The last day of the convention, I was exhausted. I have no idea what I'm going to say on the stage, but I needed to do half an hour to close off the convention, okay? And for me, 2.5 days surrounded by 150 people, for me, it's a torture. It's not easy for me. I'm having a hard time. I'm exhausted. I said, okay, Dan, you need to go on the stage for half an hour. I had no idea what I'm going to say, but I knew that there is something else that can flow through me. I had that knowing. I said, you know what? I'm just going to go up. Exhausted. This was my best 30 minutes in front of people. I don't know when the last time that I had the same experience, but I was ready to let go. I think part of it that I was so tired, so it was like, okay, I'm just exhausted. Just make something happen, right? And everything just flew through me. I knew everybody's name. I introduced 25 people to the stage. I still today don't understand how I remember everybody's name, and I knew how to say something about somebody that they remember a year after came to me and says, do you remember how you introduced me on the stage? Now, for me, I have no idea what happened on that stage for half an hour. I was not there.
So you removed yourself from the picture?
I removed myself. From that day, I know that my only job is to remove myself.
That's a really good point. That, by the way, so that, for example, that example still as accessible as it is, because we all know what it's like to sometimes all of a sudden get into the flow, and and this is a real field of study, flow, and people actually study with neuroscience, and this is not just some fluffy hyperbole. We know this is a real phenomenon. Extreme athletes use it all the time. But this example is still in the domain of what you could have done just with the ability to access this extra part of the brain that we know about and stuff. But I'm talking about like literally the world, and again, you might not have an example, I guess. So there's something, literally the world is changing something. And where I'm going with this is that in our conversations, just kind of not in front of the camera, because when you have to do, the conversations about your business and things like that, there's certain parameters that you still have to kind of like stay within to some extent to stay in a good taste. Yeah. But you and I personally, on a personal level, seem to agree that there's this extra element in the world that allows us to interact with it, and it's really hard to decouple all the woo-woo, nonsensical spiritual ideas that people seem to reiterate, and that, which seems to be a different thing. Or maybe it is the thing they're trying to describe, but usually you see that there's a disconnect between how they think it functions and what they do day to day to actually interact with it.
Yes.
So I guess what I'm getting at is it's
I think I think I understand what you try. I think we'll jump in and then we'll go back and forth.
Yeah.
I think and this is one of the experience that I had with we'll call it meditation for this video.
Sure.
That you understand that our mind, our logical mind, cannot understand it, because we're trying to use words, right, that we created as people.
Do you think you cannot understand it now, or in general it's not understandable by the logical mind?
No, we cannot understand because it's so intuitive. It's so much more than our mind worked in our mind work in separation, right? For me to be able to explain you white, you need to know black. To know light, you need to know darkness, right?
So
there's always
this versus this.
Yeah. So when you're trying to explain oneness to somebody, like there is a flow, there is an engine that works, and it's so much bigger than.
So you think that's what it is? You think it's the connection to everything that actually happens physically because it's part of who you are, basically?
You think that I mean, it's who you are that manifesting itself through this human mind, right? And one of the things that hit me in one of the meditation is like, whoa, okay, it's like I have an unlimited power. Not me, Idan, whatever is behind it. I have this unlimited power that manifests itself through this limited mind. And the limited mind that know how to explain things through black or white, dark or light, right? Now trying to explain this vastness of everything that flow through us. So when you speak with people, when you speak with people that never experience it, how do you, for that example, you don't know what water is. You never saw water, you don't know what water is.
Yeah, how do you explain wet, right?
I'm playing with water, I'm going to try to spend 5 hours to explain to you, this is how water feels.
Yeah.
Now, you never experienced water, so what is wet for you? What is that for you? Right? So when we grow up, especially schooling and our parents and the way we grow up and the way we get communicated and the language that we use, there is no words or experiences that you can use and tell for example, somebody in your family is like, do you remember when you experienced that?
Right.
What is that?
There's no point of reference.
Right? Yeah.
No point of reference.
And it's too logical. Like 1 need to happen, and then 2, and then 3, and then 4. But we talk about an area that there is.
It just happens altogether.
Yeah,
and it's part of but yeah, and I do think that there's still, okay, so it feels to me like there's still order of operations. It's just that it's a much more kind of like a net of operations, not like one thing happens, then another thing happens. There's a set of things happens, and then each set of things that happen can cause another set of things to happen, but it's not one thing that you have to follow. There's literally the entire, you know what I mean?
You just reminded me something. Have you seen this show on Netflix? And probably you didn't see it. The Good Place?
No.
Okay, so The Good Place is the show on Netflix. It's a funny show, and they're in heaven, right?
Okay.
So there's people already there. They're in heaven, and then they show people that died, and then they're in heaven, and then the people in heaven send them back to life because they try to correct the bad thing that they did.
Okay.
Right? So the person from heaven went back to life, and then the people discovered that he went back from heaven. So like, okay, so they're asking him, explain us how it works, how life works,
how everything works.
And he's on a whiteboard and he's doing this crazy life lines, and he says, okay, so this is how it works. I said, what do you mean? Where it starts? He said, yeah, it starts everywhere. Where it ends? Oh, it ends everywhere. Okay, so what happened before what? Everything. When? At the same time, right? So this is kind of what we're talking about.
Right.
So trying to understand that system with our mind.
I think that's not, like, it's fascinating, but I don't know if that's actually usable for people, because it's like, you know,
No,
it's not trying to, it's just, you got to trust the system, basically.
How far you want to go.
Yeah. But okay, I love that. And how much of this actually enters your relationship with the family? Is this something that you kind of bring on the family, or they're not even a part of this, or this is something?
Oh, no. Me and my... Oh,
I'm going to turn this off because it's making too much noise. You and
So we have the way we look at things is we understand there's a bigger reason of why we're together, right? Like what we're here to teach each other. There's a lessons that we are here to learn, to grow, to show each other, right? So when I'm looking at my kids, it's like, okay, what she's here to teach us.
oh, so
What's
not just
going
with
on
your wife.
here?
You're talking about also with your kids.
Yeah, like
This-
I'm not verbalizing with my kids that way. I do verbalize with my kids that there is a cycle. Like, because kids, you know, they're asking about death. Like, what's going to happen? Who am I? I say, you're not the body. You're using it for now. So have fun, right? So I will throw in, right? So if you're going to talk to my kids about it, they're not going to be completely surprised. That'll be a lot for them to. It's funny because when you talk to kids about it, to some degree, it's a lot to take in, but sometimes it's like, yeah, makes sense.
So you think it's easier for them because they don't have so much baggage?
And also because I think, you know, there's thing about remembering up to a certain age, right? What's going on and the way we get programs and all that. So I think, so with me, it's always everywhere in everything that I do. So
And
going
you're
back to your question.
and you're open about it.
Oh, depends with who and when,
Okay.
right? But overall, like I'll okay, there's a reason it's happening.
Right.
Like what we're here to learn.
Right.
When somebody's getting all upset, like, oh, we're getting, no, we're all done. There's the reason here. We're not, it's illusion to some degree what's happening around us. It's not really happening to us. It's happening for us, right? The question is how we're going to use it, what we're going to learn from it. So my core belief that we are here to evolve.
Right.
The business is an extension,
Okay.
right? Everybody that comes to your life, they're here to teach you a lesson, right? There's really the only way for you to help the planet is not by you trying to help the planet, is by you evolving as you, right? Because when you evolve, you create a space for other people to evolve in. So this is my core belief, right? This is why I have to be the fresh start. This is why I do the things that I do. It's because I feel like it's more aligned with what I really feel, right? So thing I'm doing to be the fresh start. So when we came up with this idea, with like it was bubbling in us, is okay, I want a fresh start, right? Thinking about myself as a kid, like I wanted a fresh start my entire life. When I go and I speak with YBA, like Youth Business Alliances, I go speak with kids, but I'm really talking to myself as a kid.
You were talking about how you do talk to your kids in that way, but you still allow them to explore their own possibilities. Can you talk about that?
Because it's all about exploring your own possibilities. Even my own journey, right? What I learned is through different practices and different things that I did is giving myself the space of exploration, right? When somebody feel insecure about whatever it is, right? Insecure that I don't know if I'm safe enough as a baby or as an adult, you're going to be scared to go and explore other things, right? Intuitions, right? What's going on here? Can I try new things? Can I learn something new, right? Without being scared that I'm going to be judged or I'm going to be punished, right? So part of my own growth was give myself a space. Let's explore, make mistakes, try new things, stretch myself. It's okay. And I learn on myself that when I give myself the space, beautiful things happen. So who do I think I am to tell my kids what to do, right? Because this is a unique human being that came to the world. The only thing that I can do is create a space for them so they can start exploring, they can start feeling, they can start playing, right? Because even in business, playfulness, creativity, and we spoke about it earlier, that's what really makes the big difference. This is where you find joy, fulfillment, connection, right? This is where you relate to people.
And I do want to repeat that because it's not so much to glorify you. It's really the reason I said it before, and I just want to repeat it for the camera, is that I said that when we worked, I noticed that many times somebody would walk in from that works for you in the office, and they would ask you something, and you wouldn't necessarily just give them what you want to do. You will actually make it so that they understand that they have a responsibility to fulfill in a very gentle way, and then they have to go and fix it, but in a way that makes it clear that you actually trust and believe that they have the ability to do so, which to me was very, it seems obvious that, you know, any leader would want to do this, but you do it with such ease. It really stood out to me that you essentially, they will become more responsible because they feel now they have responsibility to do it. For you, it's very important that they grow to be a better person. And also you're going to have less things to worry about when they do become more competent in doing that thing, which seems to be just like a win-win-win for everybody.
Yeah. And also a lot of people don't feel like somebody's really trusting them and giving them the space, right? So not innately, because of my own process, like I want to give them this feeling,
yes.
Right? Because it goes back to me, like I want to have this feeling of giving myself. So, and if everybody's a reflection of me to some degree, right? So I want to give them that feeling, like I trust you,
right?
Until you screw it up and then it doesn't any work anymore. But then still, I love you, but probably we don't need to work together.
Yeah.
But I'm not upset with you.
Yeah.
But we're trying to get somewhere.
Yeah.
Right.
But you give a lot of breather. Like, where's your cutoff? And actually, I do want to continue with the other line of questions, but I want to nail this one down because I think it is an important one. For a second, in business, there's maybe sometimes a little bit less wiggle room than in personal life because finances are involved and they're not infinite, and also certain things can damage the business in a way that it will be hard to recoup certain damages. So how do you learn how to draw the line in business versus, you know, because kids is one thing, you have your entire life to interact with them, but in business, like you said, there's a more limited framework or timeline in which you can allow for those wiggles. So what is your philosophy there? Because I think that's very useful for people.
So the moment that I feel that somebody is not really committed, end of the story.
So it's just that you see the commitment.
No, this is one thing, right?
Okay.
You're not committed, this is the end of the story, right? Because listen, the company is not about me. We're supporting so many people, so many families. It's a big organization.
You can't
today.
help them with their attitude, basically.
No. If you're not committed, this is the thing. I'm not going to give, like, why? Listen, if it's not your thing, it's not your thing. Thank you very much. I love you, but let's end this relationship nicely.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not really upset. It's just, listen, it's not the right thing. You need to go find your own thing. That will make sense to you, that this is where you're going to grow and flourish as a human being. If you are committed, but then to some degree the company overgrown your abilities, right? Then we're going to have a conversation of, listen, you're not going to grow with the company because this is what we need to do, or you make a decision that you want to stay where you are. And then if you're okay with that and we're really having this honest conversation, you can stay where you are. Right?
You mean in the position, not being
because
promoted?
I want to see, my goal is to see people growing within the company. Right? So look, I mean, I get it. Some people want to do the same thing for many, many years. They want to be comfortable and it's perfect. They're doing a great job. Everybody's happy. I'm happy, right? And they're happy. So that's fine. But if they're telling me I want to keep growing in the company, but then they're not really working on their capacities and abilities and not developing new skills, I'll be like, listen, this is just not working. You're not going to be able to do the same thing every day and then expect to get paid a lot more or grow to a different position. It's just not going to happen.
So the main thing you're gauging is their where they are as a person.
Yeah, it's always go back to where they are because this is, this is how I experience. Well, that's not an obvious thing
because it's not, okay, again, you must know that this is not that common that, CEOs, managers, and especially CEOs look at it that way because it's not always the most obvious economical thing to look at.
Yeah.
But it makes perfect sense. Like, where else would you look than the source of whatever it is that's going to happen next, which is the person? If they're slacking over a certain period of time, clearly either something is off with their lives or they just got tired. Something is off.
Something is off, yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, that's a very, very useful thing.
Yeah.
So let me get back for a second about what we talked about with the attitude of the kids. I guess I'm very gently approaching this very sensitive thing, and I actually don't think it's as sensitive for you as it is for me to talk about for some reason. I feel like there's certain subjects that are, in certain circles, they're the main thing, and I will clarify, of course, so excuse me if I'm vague for like 2 seconds, but but in other circles, it's almost like taboo to talk about them. It almost is synonymous with airheads or people that don't know what they're talking about, or just people who are softies who just want beautiful things to believe. And we touched on this a little bit when we talk about, how do we look at certain things in the world that happen that seems to be beyond what we usually believe that happens, that everything is cause and effect and it's just everything physical and whatever you're going to put in is what you're going to take out.
Yeah.
There seems to be this extra dimension that does trigger something else, some other mechanism that is a little of a higher octave, let's call it, that really is there, seems to be, when we align ourselves in a certain attitude.
Yeah.
So that's the domain in which I'm now operating and asking you this question.
Yeah.
So when there's a place that allows us to see it, if we take that road and we go about it a certain way and it works for us, and we want to allow other people to see it as well, the thing that I asked you when the cameras were off is that I said, well, I don't always know how to talk to people about that because I want them to know, not because I discovered something cool also, but also because I feel like it will make their lives better, but I don't always know how to talk about it because when you do, you're being looked at funny. So
Yeah.
you said something interesting. You said that it's not about telling them or talking to them, it's about allowing them the space to discover it. Can you talk a little bit about that? How do you?
Yeah, because when you trying to, and this is what I'm telling myself, when you're trying to teach somebody, you're playing God. Like, who are you to think that right now he needs to have the lessons that you think that he needs to have?
Right.
Right? So from your experience, you think that this is the right time for him to understand what you understand. But maybe this is not his experience. Maybe you need to learn different things before he gets to learn that.
Right.
Just as an example, right? So the only thing that we can do is live life that way. And if some people will get a line into it, or some people will say, the other day, one of my friends asked me, like, do you have a phone number for God? I'm like, what do you mean? It's like, how the hell things work in that way for you in your life? How does everything looks like it's flowing? I says, listen, the only thing that I do, I keep high vibration. This is the only thing that I do. Whatever happens, happen. If it happens bad, I think it's good. If it's good happen, I think it's good too. So it doesn't really matter to me because I see everything that happens for me, right? But I'm not saying you need to start seeing things that way. Because who am I to tell him how we need to see things?
Yeah, that's actually a very, very good
And at
point.
the same time, don't forget, it's all a reflection of us. So it's really, more...
But hold on. This is an interesting point here. We talked about this before a little bit. So this is a reflection of us, and to a large extent, I'm also playing devil's advocate because a lot of that stuff I agree with you. But I want to see if we can kind of address this part. Because if it's a reflection of us, but they are not a reflection of us, the way they appear to us is a reflection of us, right? So you don't think that there's a possibility to kind of go through how you think you see things and really see them, and then maybe you do see them in this struggling place where they actually are versus just seeing them struggling because it's a reflection of you seeing them struggling? You know what I mean?
So first of all, I don't know if it's, I wouldn't put the word struggling on it because the same way...
Well, no, I mean just an example. Of course, they don't have to be struggling.
Yeah.
But...
So every time that I go too much into my analytic mind to try to understand reality, I'm stopping myself because I know this is not the right tool to understand reality because it's very limited. I know that where I can use my human brain, I'll call it, to create reality to some degree with a part of it, right? But when I go into analyze, I can look at numbers and I can analyze them black and white and stuff like that, and I can make a decision, right? And I know intuitively, most of the time we know the answer before we even look at the numbers, right? But when I go and I try to use too much thoughts to understand reality, I'm taking something that have, let's say, 1,000 lines in it with my brain that can only see 10. And I'm saying, okay, this guy is struggling or is not struggling or this what happened or not happened. It's very limited.
Right.
So I'm not going there anymore that way. Because who am I to think that he's struggling or not? Maybe this is the perfect thing that he needs to go through. The same way that I went through my own hardship, and maybe somebody from outside says, oh, poor Idan, look what he's going through. This poor kid. But he is here and he's not doing good. And really, this is the best thing that ever happened to me.
But how does it tie into your whole campaign right now? I mean, you're trying to allow people to see certain structures, right, about in the business and how they should behave and how they should calibrate themselves to be. And a lot of it involves specific advice.
Yeah.
So there's room for both of those things.
I'm sharing my experience, right? So one of the things that I'm really trying to stay on is, okay, so one of the reasons that I go into this project of get out of the truck and everything is goes into stretching myself, right? So my main focus is stretching myself, because I know that if I'm going to stretch myself, right, the result of it will be I'm creating a bigger space for other people to stretch themselves. But if that's going to happen or not, it's not my business. But I know that every time that I put myself in a situation that I need to be stretched, I discover more of who I am, right? And I'll give you an example. And I spoke about it with my wife last night, right? Building a nice company, right? A CEO, doing good and all that. I'm thinking, okay, I'm putting my video up on YouTube. Boom, explosions, right? I'm going to get so many views and so many likes and so many things. And of course, right?
World, right?
I'm putting it up and nothing.
Guess what? You got to promote it. Yeah.
Right? But I see it as...
Wait, to what effect are you saying this?
I'm saying that effect is like that got me to see a part of myself that I feel like I deserve something.
Oh,
or there's a certain expectation, right? And I'm like who I thought I am.
But it's not about that.
No, I know, but it's about
no new videos get immediate views. That's
I know, yeah. But that gets me to see the inside.
It doesn't matter the content even, pretty much.
I know, but it got me to see a more of a reflection
of what you were expecting,
of what's going on in my head, right? So this is more of a I don't know if it's more as a humbling.
Yeah, it's humbling for sure.
There's humbling to it, but it's also more of a mirror to me
of what you actually are.
It's a mirror of like, you know, that brings me...
No, because the place you felt like you're at, you weren't quite there in some respects, which is you still have this expectation of things just to kind of work out. Right?
So I'm waking up to myself like, Idan.
Why do you expect that?
What are you thinking? Like, what's going... But it's...
That is funny.
But I like this because then reality become even a bigger mirror for me.
Yeah.
Because when you're comfortable and you're in your own... feeling comfortable, not stretching, this is life. Life will come and slap you in the face here and there,
right?
But it's not as a fast growth when you're stretching yourself, right? So my big thing is like going to acting classes, right? That I barely talk about. Going to acting classes. Like, you know how much I learned about myself in acting classes?
So
I hated acting classes.
Because you told me that you used to stutter pretty bad.
Yeah.
Were you still stuttering when you went to acting classes, or you already kind of climbed out of
it? I climbed out of it. You know, I start cleaning it up, not cleaning it up, transforming it, right? Feeling more comfortable, see more people and people, see myself as a person and all that. So I went through all this transformation, but there is a big difference going through the transformation and still playing safe, right? Okay, so now I feel comfortable to speak from, you know, I was my meeting at the company, I used to meet with one person at a time because I don't want to sit in front of 2-3 people. Like, holy shit, I'm going to handle 2-3 people in my company, right? So I went from 2 people to 3 people to 5 people to 6 people, right? Still my comfortable zone that I kind of created for myself. But suddenly when I'm like going to acting classes, this is completely out of my zone. I don't know anybody. I have no idea what's going to happen in the acting classes. And I'm going there and I'm terrified. And this is really stretching myself, and you get to see so much about who you are, because
in the places that you don't know what's going to happen in particular.
You don't know, and
you know that you feel uncomfortable there because of,
you know that so uncomfortable. But there's so,
But that's not obvious because for some people that's where home is, right? So it's the fact that you place yourself in a situation that is really uncomfortable to you.
yeah,
Because that's the thing that's your sign from the world that that's the mirror of the things that you really feel uncomfortable
yeah,
with. And this is and I want to pin a flag here for a second because there's something that I realized I forgot to ask you about because it's important for me that you talk about it shortly. There's something that, again, it's a super simple thing, but whenever a really simple thing is executed in a way that also shows benefit in general, and it becomes very clear why that should be the way. You know, those deep ethical questions, why you should care for others, why you shouldn't lie, why, all those things. There's always, if you really dig deep, it seems like at the end of it, you're going to find that those are not just kind of like the 10 Commandments created for teaching better crazy people to be better people like children, but they have intrinsic value within themselves. So specifically, I'm talking about like when I discovered that the first videos we made, you were talking about how, from your perception, when you go and help people restore their home, you don't think in terms of how are we just taking care of their physical damage and things like that, but what is it like to be them in that experience? How do you help them recover their lives? How do you take them through that? And to me, again, it's such a simple idea, but there was something about the way that you described it, and that's the thing that I want you to do right now in a short way. It a little bit blew my mind how simple it is, how people never adopt that attitude, and it should so obviously be the focus because it benefits everybody, including yourself.
yeah.
So can you talk a little bit about that?
So where it came from, or why it's so important, or why
First
it's
of all,
very,
describe short, like in a very short manner, which I'm sure you can do. Like, what is it exactly that just the attitude there?
the attitude that it's all about. It's really all about the person in front of you. This is what it's all about. The person in front of you and what he's going through. It's not about what I'm going through, right? Because I'm not that. That's maybe going to sound a little bit crazy. I'm not that important.
But they're also the customers, so that's not that crazy, right?
No, I know, but it's not. But now it goes into everything, right? It goes to my team. It goes to my everything.
Oh, you mean that's
it's
an
like
attitude.
creating
Right.
that environment. Like
Right.
I'm here to serve something.
Right.
I'm here to serve. I'm not here to take care of Idan. Idan, if you think about what is the most fulfilling time in your life, and you're going to go back and see the time that you actually did something for somebody else. Right? It's not about how much money I make, it's about what I did with my money. Especially if you went and you helped somebody with their life. I think here is a sentence maybe that we can use. What you give is what you keep. And that sentence is huge for me. What you give is what you keep, not what you take.
Did you hear this somewhere, or this is yours?
No, it's not mine. No, I heard it somewhere a long time ago, and then I heard it again, many times. What you give is what you keep, right? So when you really take care of people, when you really being there for people, right? And I think there's also, I don't know where I got this sensitivity, right? Because I do feel, I sometimes stand in a room and somebody feels something, and I feel it in my body.
Right.
Like, oh, okay, this person is like going through pain now. For me to release my pain, I need to release his pain, right? Because I feel it, right? So I think this is part of now where it comes from, why I was blessed with it or cursed with it, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Right? This is part of it. But for me, it's always, not always. Since I started going through my own transformation, I realized that it's that, like, we're here to make somebody's health, somebody's lives a lot better. And this is where Be the Fresh Start came from. Like, we're here to serve, not to receive.
Right.
Right? Where we started this conversation is like, okay, can we explain to people? Like right now, we're making this podcast. In how do we do we really try to explain to people? We're just being very, and we're just talking about it, right? Maybe somebody else is going to hear this conversation and going through, okay, I have this experience, right? I have the thing, but I'm trying to explain to people, but nobody really understands me. What do I do with everything that I experience, or I know, or I don't know, I'm thinking about? Tomorrow morning I wake up, what do I do?
Right.
Right. So I think it's coming back. It's all coming back. Like at the end of the day, we're here, right? And we
Right.
are surrounded people that we love, people that we care about, the things that we hate, the things that we love. What do we do with all that, right? So I think that is what you asked me to stop and wait.
So there was there was something specific that when the cameras were off, we were talking about the Kabbalah, and then what you're saying is extremely valuable because in the end of the day is what do you do with all the information, right?
In the
How do
beginning
you
of the day.
Well, beginning and the end of the day, yeah. What do you do with the actual information? So, in the end, with all the stuff that you might think you understand about those extra mechanisms, whatever it is, if you don't still follow the regular rules of, physical operations, lead a healthy life, wake up in the morning, have your routine, go for a jog, work your body, like make sure that you work out, make sure that you eat properly, all the things that we hear, in the self-help industry, basically, which are all true. If
Yes.
you don't follow those things, definitely your life is not going to become better just by knowing certain things that you read somewhere that are, transcendent or something that you were exposed to. Those things are interesting, but they don't have the real value if you don't execute every day. But there was another point that you touched on, and we can
Okay,
just
so
keep
while
going.
you're thinking about the other point, there's something
sure,
there
yeah,
that
go
I want to
ahead.
jump in and say.
Please,
Okay,
please.
there's something I want to jump in. And this is a conversation that I have with my friends. Like, okay, a bird build a house, bring kids into the world,
Right.
develop them good enough, and then let them be, right?
Sure.
Now, a lot of human beings, most of human beings, unfortunately, building the house is a huge goal for them. Having kids is a huge goal for them. So life become very limited in a way of we trying to do what
I think that was actually the point. So
the bunny is doing, what the birds is doing, what animals are doing around us. But we are human beings. We got other gifts. We got imagination.
But
we got
you have
language.
to clarify this for me, actually, not even for the viewers.
Okay.
What do you mean? But how does that limit our scope when we focus on just the house? Let's say.
When you are as a human being with your level of imagination, right? Imagination. Like my friend asked me, if you give me one word, what separate us from the rest of the animals on the planet? My answer was imagination. We can see something that is not exist yet.
Doesn't there yet.
It's not there yet,
yeah.
right? So we can see something that doesn't exist.
Right.
That get us to create something. This is where language being created.
Right.
This is where we want to live our life. So we have the power to create a lot more. Right? And this is imagination. It's just a small part of it, I think.
So you're saying that when I focus just on a house, I'm limiting my focus within my imagination. It's focused purely on that thing.
It's not only limiting you, it's like you don't even know who you are. Do you understand? Like you see yourself as
Someone who wants a house.
yeah, like birds have a house. Why we work so hard our entire life? Makes sense?
Okay. Yeah, I just had this very disturbing image of people feeding their their kids like birds.
Oh, the thing, huh? Here we go.
Yeah.
No, but you see, like it's like one of the things, and this is part of the transformation. I think this is part of the conversation that we're having. There's like so much more here, right?
Sure.
If you understand it this way, you understand it that way, and whatever ways you understand it, and whatever talks to you, if it's numbers or Kabbalah or whatever religion, it's only tools for us to really reach our potential.
Right.
But whenever we look ourselves as, we want to build a house, we want to have kids, and this is our ultimate
Goal.
achievement in life, this is really taking a human being, that this is a gift.
So you're saying that the things that the nature set up in place, like having kids, like building a shelter, those things are built in by genes. Those are not necessarily the things that we can transcend the genes. Like we always want to aspire to transcend our genes, like something beyond.
We have so much more in us.
Right.
We have so much more in us. So I don't know if this is where you want to take our conversation.
No, that was actually the point. That's the thing exactly the point, where you limit yourself by the things that you think you want. So the question then becomes, what would be that ultimate, of course, in life there are no simple answers, and it's never one thing, right? But
I think that's okay. Go ahead.
but if there would be one guiding principle by which you would have to, as in Hebrew we say, Torah al regel achat. Like, what would be your Torah, the Torah on, standing on one foot? So, like, in one sentence, if you would have to summarize your entire philosophy, what would be that one thing that you would say people, you should focus on that one thing, and it would help you, it would be a guiding light for the rest of the stuff that you do?
Expanding yourself.
C'est tout. Basically, just...
I think so. I'm trying to...
I'm trying to...
think because if everything... Not if... I'm keep saying the word if, but everything is a reflection of you.
Right.
If you think that you are here to build a house and bring kids, you're going to bring a house. You're going to build a house and bring kids. If you think that you are here to manifest something much, much bigger, right? If you understand that every time that you say, I am that, you're really just creating a limitation, because look at evolution. Look at life. Like, everything is evolving. Everything is changing. There's a new species that comes in. There's a new species that disappeared. Life is something that is moving and happening. And he's saying, no, out of all this life that created me, look, my heart is beeping. I don't need to think about it. My body, there's so much wisdom in my body. It's insane. Like how the system works. I can eat a banana and the banana become me. Do you get this part?
Yeah, no, for sure. This is a really funny example.
How genius it is. I can eat.
Especially with bananas, it's really funny.
What is your body? Your body is just an accumulation of food.
Right. So
your brain is just accumulation of information.
Well, yeah, that's a whole other conversation. But yeah.
Okay, but
no, I see what you're saying. So from all this,
so we're playing such a small game.
Everything that's going on the entirety of the history of the planet of the Earth.
That's what created you.
I want to have a house.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Think how ridiculous it is.
Yeah.
I'm trying to make ends meet. Like, are you kidding me? You are a piece of creation. Like, look what's going on in your body.
Right.
Just look at your body.
Yeah, but it doesn't make, to play the other side of that just for a second, it's most people don't feel, it's not that tangible for them that, it's like Carl Sagan saying we are stardust, but for the most part we don't feel like stardust. It's not part of our experience, so it's kind of hard. You really have to do work to remind yourself those things, right? So I agree with you. But,
yeah. Of course, but okay. But if somebody will tell me, listen, I'm going to put you in this world, but you can have whatever you want. But guess what? You're going to need to do some work.
Right.
I'm like, holy shit, why I need to do work? Why don't you just give me everything? But if I will give you everything, then you're not going to appreciate anything. So if, let's say, I'm going to put you on this planet and everything that you think will become, you're going to be devastated. Think that everything that you think of just become. Well, I'm going to get bored in 5 minutes. I'm like, this is boring. Like, I don't want to be here. What I'm going to do with all this stuff?
We're having fun. What's going on?
No, can you imagine?
Yeah.
I'm thinking I want a flat screen TV. Boom, it's on. I want that. Boom, it's on. I'm going to move to an island because I'm going to be... It's coming, right? But I'm going to be too busy. It's going to be too uncomfortable here. So, we were blessed. We were blessed with the ability to create whatever we want. But we're blessed that we need to work for it a little bit. We need to transform from a little bit. And I think that transformation, that working on it, is a gift more than anything else. The problem is people seeing is, first of all, they don't understand the potential that they have. Not because of them, because of where they grew up in and the limited belief that is, school and parents and everything else that, we grew up into, that this is part of our need to grow, right? Everybody have their own journey into, but it's a blessing. Like, Can you imagine a life that whatever you want just comes to you?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
It can be very boring very fast, right? If I don't need to
deal,
deal
like a disturbing maniac, because yeah. No, that's a really good point. But you believe that. You really believe that if we set our minds, that old saying, if we set our minds to anything and we actually stay with it and stay with the intention, it will manifest. We will make it happen.
Okay. This is not me saying. There's somebody, right, as we're making this video, became the richest person in the world in a matter of, what, 5-6 years now?
Elon Musk?
Yeah.
A matter of 25 years. But
25 years. But right, let's say 25 years.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's in 25 years. For him, Jeff Bezos, whoever it is, they making $180 billion. You cannot make $1 million?
Sure. No, I'm with you.
So it's not me saying it.
Asking you,
look around you.
Yeah.
Like, look what's happening.
Of course. The reason I'm asking you is because there's certain conviction in the way that somebody who already reached a certain level has certain things to say that leads to a more conviction in other people. That's basically what it is. And Elon Musk, by the way, is a perfect example of everything you're talking about, because his aim was not to become the richest person in the world, but to create something that has true value for people.
Exactly.
On a massive scale.
Exactly.
And by the way, yes, that would be the perfect answer to what I'm asking, is because he literally revolutionized 3 industries that governments couldn't do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And even look, I heard an interview with Jeff Bezos, right? And he talks about, building Amazon and all that. And he says that we want to deliver a package in 24 hours, right? We want to deliver a package tomorrow. When you order something, we want to deliver a package. And then he goes through this crazy laugh. Like, he's laughing for like 5 minutes on the interview. And he says, you guys don't understand. Today, to you, it sounds very simple. You don't understand how many board meetings and how many meetings I need to have with anybody in the company. And I says, for us to become Amazon that we want to become, we need to deliver a package in 24 hours. Right? So it's not about how rich we're going to become. It's not about how big we want to become. It's about, can we completely change this idea of customer satisfaction? Can we become the company that get packages to you in 24 hours? And look what happened. So his focus was not how big can we get. Can we do that in 24 hours? If we solve this thing, can we get that big? Now, if you're a real estate agent, if you're a teacher, if you're whoever it is that you are, and you want to say, okay, can I find a better way to teach my kids in my classroom how to have more fun? How to work with information differently so it's more enjoyable, right? If I can be a real estate agent, that I can create a different experience. So most people think about how can I make money instead of how can I create that experience. And it's not even history, reality showing us again and again and again, when people are focusing on a specific way of doing things that is more of a service type of approach and not what I can get, right? And this goes with evolution. Evolution wants a service, evolution wants to survive, evolution wants to serve. And once we got aligned with evolution of creating something better for other people, the world reward us in, I don't know which word to use here, like in a crazy way. Like, look where people get.
Yeah.
So this is what I think is all about. So whatever we believe in, the universe, not the universe, talk to us, not talk to us, whatever it is that I'm a huge believer in it. When you wake up in the morning, get out of your own brain and wake up and understand that you are here to serve. We are here to do something good for others. Like, as we say in our religion, ve'ahavta le'reacha kamocha. When you're aligned with that, magic happens.
Translate to people, though.
Love your neighbor as you love yourself.
Yeah, no, it's not obvious.
But this is what it's really all
true.
about, and we can see it again and again and again and
100%.
again. Yeah, this is what I think is beautiful about life.
Yep.
And I think there is another force that somehow works with you.
Always search for a way to serve through the skills that you've acquired and the powers that you have.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful message, Idan.
Sing your song. Right?
Idan, thank you so much. You're a very, very inspiring individual. So I'm really very happy that we get the chance to do this.
Awesome.
And I would love to do this again sometime.
Yeah. Next week.
Yeah.
Thank you.